Tree. We're going through a series now where we're looking at different concepts in tarot cards, and we're particularly looking now at using the tarot cards to tell fortunes, the laying of the cards. We've done a lot of work with the Major Arcana and the Minor Arcana, and we're going to focus today on the Minor Arcana. The Minor Arcana are the lesser cards. The tarot deck is divided into two parts. 22 Major Arcana. Those were developed to teach the Kabbalistic trees. Then there's the regular deck of playing cards, which is 56 cards. When we're fortune telling, because of the highly developed nature of the Major Arcana and their place on the trees, when a Major Arcana card comes up in a reading, I treat that as something that is going to happen that may be beyond the control of the aspirant. When a Major Arcana card turns up, I treat it like this is going to happen, and you have no choice. If a Minor Arcana card turns up, I treat that as this may happen. There's a tendency towards this, but you do have some control, and knowing what's coming, you may even be able to avoid it. Just as a recap, and not to belittle the minor cards, but the development of the Major Arcana, those 22 cards, is a masterpiece. And we're indebted to Waite and the Order of the Golden Dawn and the different people that put it together. Pamela Smith and her art, and she also had an interest in some of these belief systems. The 22 Major Arcana cards were precisely developed, and they evolved into a way to beautifully teach the two trees of the Kabbalistic practical knowledge. It teaches the Kabbalistic wisdom. We're now going to talk about the minor cards. There's 56 minor cards. The old decks, they weren't numbered. And if you had an older deck, there are pictures on the Major Arcana. But any of the Minor Arcana will not have a picture. They will just have numbers on it. Aces and this kind of a thing. You don't have many prompts when you're telling fortunes with the minor cards on the old decks, because they're just numbers. They don't have any clues. And that's what the point of today's video is about. The Minor Arcana conforms to the places on the trees where the Major Arcana lie. For instance, the number 1 card, the aces, will always conform to the number 1 spot on the tree. All the 2 cards, the 2, 3, and so on. Basically, the 56 cards of the Minor Arcana are our present day playing deck. 4 suits, 1s to aces, or rather aces to kings. The playing deck existed in many countries for a long time. For some reason, this particular arrangement of 4 sets, ace to king, developed in many countries. And it is still what we use today. Our regular deck of playing cards is the Minor Arcana, with just one little difference. Today's deck has a jack, and the tarot cards have pages and knights. The pages and knights were combined together to form the jacks. There's 56 minor arcana cards. They're not always used for fortune telling. In fact, for fortune telling, some people would only use the major arcana, that highly evolved and Kabbalistically directed set of 22 cards with very precise meanings. And many times the 56 regular cards might be put aside and just the major arcana used. When the minor arcana are used, their number refers to the number on the tree, and that's how they knew before there were pictures what the 3 cards represented. They knew that all the 3 cards had something to do with sufferer number 3, with card number 3. Well, card number 3 is over here, actually. The minor arcana are not so obvious in their meanings. They are vignettes or archetypes. The minor arcana shows situations that occur in all our lives, and we can apply them to our own stories or to the story of the aspirant. The number of the card indicates its origin or its intent. The minor arcana cards are not always clear. There are some cards that may appear to exist on the column of mercy when in fact they are severe cards, and vice versa. The minor arcana has always been called the pips. Perhaps that's related to the term pipsqueak. I don't know. It seems kind of not a glorious term for the minor arcana, but they've been known as the pips. It's only been recently that the pips had pictures on them, and that will help us a lot as we move up today. We're going to look at the minor arcana cards with respect to telling fortunes. If you're going to be reading someone's fortune, when the major arcana comes up, these are the forces beyond our control, we have a pretty good idea what they mean. With the minor arcana cards, we have the pictures, but we don't always know exactly what they mean or what their intent is. So we'll take a look. We'll do a start now. This is the system, that glorious system that made the 22 major arcana cards exactly align on the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And this is a fantastic setup, and it lets us understand the cards. Now, as we move from the major arcana to the minor arcana, we will start to look at the ace cards. Now, the ace cards are number 1, and they refer to the magician. Card number 1. The magician is the great card, sort of the godhead of the tree at the very top. The major arcana is 22 cards. The minor arcana sits on top. We don't need to memorize the pips or the minor arcana. The picks will tell the story, and what we're going to do today is find their location, and that's going to sort of give an overview what those pips or minor arcana are going to tell us. We'll start with the aces. The aces are in the place of the magician. All 4 aces. When you're telling a fortune and an ace comes up, we have a lot of good things to say. It is the beginning of something. It represents the magician, who is the source of everything. But we might want to know what it isn't as well. So when we put the aces, we know that the potential is there. But we might want to remind the person that these are ideas and potential only. What the aces don't suggest is material success. They don't suggest that the plans have it all come to fruition. So all the ace cards may mean great things, and they have the 4 suits to work with, but those things are not in evidence yet. That's the good and the bad of the aces. We're going to move to the two cards now. And the two cards we can see refer to the High Priestess. It means wisdom and partnership. When you get to the two cards, the overall definition of the cards may have to do with wisdom, but what the cards have to do in practical terms when we're reading fortune is there's something to do with partnership. In the first card, you can see two people getting together, perhaps romantically. We see this person having to leave and set up elsewhere, and he'll be looking for someone to work with. In this case, there is a need for partnership that's not there because there are decisions being made without sufficient knowledge or awareness. And in this case, the two card means you have to seek partnership. You can't keep doing it all on your own. We'll notice that the two cards all exist on the column of mercy. These are cards that don't suggest anything of a combative nature. These are open and welcoming cards. We'll move now to the threes. Now you'll see the three cards, and we might be tempted just to get a very simple idea. These cards refer to understanding, and in general, that's what they mean. But specifically, when we get to the three cards, we're talking about mastery. We're talking about learning something through complete understanding. And we can see in this case, it's the mastery of artistic work. In this case, it is the celebration of accomplishment. In this case, he has mastered a number of different fields and is now looking at spreading the wealth and moving his riches to other places. And in this case, we have heartbreak. This is hard to think of in terms of mastery, and so we'll try to think of it as one of the overviews of this card. But in general, this card on the side of severity will mean heartbreak. Now remember, there's a little bit of a difficulty with the minor arcana. They aren't the focus of the tarot cards. The 22 major arcana are. The 56 minor arcana are in fact a regular deck of playing cards that have been adapted to fit into the system. They didn't receive the complete attention that the 22 arcana. Pamela Smith had a lot of input into it, and I think they work very well as archetypes and as part of the story that will emerge as we tell a fortune. When I do read the minor arcana, I'm not frantically trying to find its place in the tree, because you get to know the cards and the pictures do suggest a lot. But knowing their place on the tree will enable you not to make the mistake of assigning to a card attributes that it really doesn't have. We'll move now to the four cards. They're having to do with mercy. They're in the place of the emperor. He's the benevolent king. What I would think this card means, or these cards means, the fours, they have something to do with mercy, with the benevolent king, the emperor, and they also have to do with something that has to do with just hard work, something to respond to when the work gets difficult. And we see things to do with work that have to do with keeping the work, with celebrating the work, with leaving the work, and resting from the work. What this card is not, it's not about accepting the usual present relationship. This is a card perhaps about some dissatisfaction and perhaps moving on. These are the 4 cards. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we move on now to the next 4 cards, which are the 5s. The 5s are the place of the Hierophant. This is the person who teaches the hidden knowledge. It has to do with severity, but the more precise meaning when we're doing fortune is this card has something to do with passion, learning lessons. What these cards are not about is not about success. This is a card about the beginnings of what you have to do to make success. And we can see as we're moving through the hard work, we have the difficulty of working with different people. We have the dissatisfaction of where you are and needing to move on, needing to find something else. This is a card that refers to you losing a contest and somebody else taking all the rewards. The figure in the card is not you, that is your adversary. This is a card that you've lost. Take it with grace and move on. And the final card about learning lessons is these 2 people who are injured, lost, and cold and have no place to go. And together, these cards mean the necessity of hard work, but success is not in your fortune at the moment. We'll move down now to the center, which is the Lover's card. It's Tiferi, it's a place of beauty, and you would think there's nothing bad that can be said about that. And we know that it has to do with beauty. It is the realm of beauty, and we've talked a bit before how beauty is an unrealized power right now. And it has to do with the polarities of male and female and things that are going on in our society right now. With the 6 cards, we're in the realm of beauty, but what this particularly means is growth. We'll be seeking success. We'll be moving through and past things in order to get there. This is the number 6 card. Remembering it has something to do with beauty. This is the aspect of philanthropy, but perhaps it's philanthropy with a hidden motive. This is returning from past accomplishments, being recognized and seeking new adventures. This is beauty and growth from the ideas from your past. There is something in your past that brings you joy, and the memory of that can help you decide where to move presently. And in this card, again, we're seeking success. It is the card of beauty, and in this case, the person is moving everything across the river. He is in no danger, but he is relocating to try again somewhere else. What these 4 cards are not about is being where you want to be. All of these people are seeking something else. In the realm of beauty, there is an aspect of looking for your heart's desire and moving towards that. We'll move to the 7 cards now. Now, in readings, we'll come up with a minor arcana all the time, and these are ideas that will enrich your understanding of the minor cards. When we work through the cards, you work through the 5s, keep in mind that these are on the column of severity. These cards are offering difficulty to the aspirant. These cards, despite what they may look, are on the side of mercy, and these are going to offer sort of openness and inclusion to the aspirant. As we move now to card number 7, that is the Chariot. It's Netzach. The Chariot means the person is developed and has control of their emotion and their intellect. Their intellect is informed by their emotion, not vice versa. There is a balance and there is a control. When we come down into this realm, it is called victory, but I feel that there's a part of mysticism in there. It is trying without success and moving through and past difficulties. This is on the side of mercy. This is learning for your own good, and this is the balance of mental and emotional. We have a card that offers you gifts, but like the story of the monkey's paw, every gift comes with a warning and a threat. In this case, and as all the sevens, we are looking for some kind of a shortcut to something. And in this case, he's dissatisfied with this harvest. He wants more. This card resembles a card that we looked at just a few minutes ago, but in this card, you are the one doing the stealing. You have come into some money or gained some power or had a promotion, something like that, but it's not through your own efforts. It may be happenstance, false reputation, hearsay, but something has benefited you, but not through your own efforts. And you realize, in a sense, you have stolen something that benefits your reputation. And finally, we have the constant frustration of dealing with minor nuisances sometimes, problems that people bring you constantly. He has the higher ground, he's not in trouble, but it is just a constant aggravation at times. All of this is on the side of mercy. These are not in any way harming you. These are difficulties that you'll move through. At the number 8 place, this is the place of strength, also the place of the sun. It means splendor, technically, and what it means, though, when we're laying cards, think of it more as opportunity. This is the 8 cards. This is strength. This is where a person has come up from our world, seen a glimmer of light, and in this realm, they have to do with some deprivation. They have to do without, they have to get rid of some things and gain strength. This is the column of severity. This is the column of effort. This is the column of clean, which means things have to be kept out, things have to be dispensed with. We have the 7 cards. This is opportunity. This is a person honing their craft. These cards are also dealing with today's problems. This is the constant messages, the opportunities that will be granted to you may come at the end of a lot of sort of dead-end avenues. But this is the idea of pursuing all the ideas and messages and ideas that come your way, even knowing many of them won't serve you. We're dealing with today's problems. We're looking at opportunities. And in this case, despite happiness, they know inside themselves that's not exactly where they want to be. And they are willing to leave a sure thing for something less tangible. They are willing to leave a bird in the hand to search for 2 in the bush. And finally, dealing with today's problems, sometimes you know you can solve a problem, but you don't have the ability to use your power at the moment. In fact, you can't even really be sure you see the problem as it actually is. This is a great card for the idea of dealing with today's problem, which is what all the 8 cards mean. And the answer is always strength, because that's where it is. Now, there is something, if one of these 4 cards does turn up in a reading, we'll talk about what it is. It is not the end of your journey. None of the 8 cards mean this is the final destination. We'll move on to the 9 cards, and as we get to the 9 cards, we're sort of getting near the end of the journey here. The place is the Hermit. Yes, that glimmer of light that draws people. Technically, it means foundation, but I think it refers to vision when we're laying cards. And we'll come back to that idea of visions as we lay the cards down. It has to do with just rewards for your past actions. Those are the things it does mean. We'll look at what it doesn't mean in just a minute. So we have the 9 cards. Vision, just rewards. And in this card, you are being offered a gift. This is not a tricky gift. This is not a monkey's paw kind of a situation. This may surprise you, but you are going to be offered something that you really want and you really need, and there are no hidden problems with this. Sometimes in your life, you get a just reward that makes you happy, and this card refers to something is coming your way that will be like a gift. Don't dismiss it. Just rewards for past actions we see in this 9 card, where the woman has reached a point in life where she is self-sufficient, wise, secure, and her advice is sought by many. Dealing with the day's problems doesn't always end in a position of comfort. And in this case, we can see that although they are protected, they have been battered and bruised, and they need to be in a place of some safety from a barrage of other plans that are coming away, perhaps competition and that kind of thing. This is dealing with today's problems. And one of the things that can happen as we move ahead and we're talking about just rewards for past actions, sometimes what seems like success later on may cause you sorrow, and that's what this card is about. This is a card of the use of power to get where you want, but in reflection at a later date, you find that there's an element of heartbreak in your use of power. These are all just rewards for past actions. It's on the center column, the place of the Hermit. We'll move into the 10s now. Now the 10s refer to completion of a cycle. Whenever a 10 card turns up in a reading, we can look at it as the final destination. And like the 9s, sort of the idea of just rewards. The 10s, both of the 10 cards that on the 2 trees are very similar. The World and the Wheel of Fortune, they represent the kingdom. That's the typical definition, but what they refer to when we're laying cards for readings is the end of a cycle. One end of a cycle is you can do it, but it takes all you have. People see you as successful, but they don't understand the toll it's taking on you. The end of a cycle can be defeat, heartbreak, and total loss. You took a gamble, and of course, not all gambles succeed. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a gamble at all. One of the best ways of coming to an end of a cycle is new beginnings. This is children, wife, a house, a sunny day, rainbows, happiness. This is what we all wish for some ends of cycle, is the beginning of new things. And finally, this is the end of a cycle. And in a sense, it is the beginning of new things, but not for you. This is the end of a cycle where you look around and you take stock of what you have, and you see shelter, you see accomplishment, and you see young people continuing in your tradition. And that's one of the things that this offers, is the idea of the future moving on. And we'll move into the royal family now. If any of the pages turn up, they always refer to our world, to Malkuth or to the Wheel of Fortune. The pages are part of the community. They have access to the court. They are gatherers of information, and they dispense the royal word. The pages respond to queens. They are the queen's eyes and ears. They try to win the hearts and the souls of the citizens. When we move up in from the pages to the knights, we are moving into the realm of Yesod, which is summoning people to the higher worlds. These are the knights, and the knights are part of the court. They are the enforcers. They spread the king's word, and they enforce the king's word. The pages, as we mentioned before, what they aren't, they are not warriors. No one fears the pages. The pages are organically encouraging the queen's wishes for long-term development. The knights, what they are not is anything beyond the king's wishes. The knights are not judges or courts. They are enforcers. They are the enactment of the king's will. We move now into the queens. The queens are as powerful as the king. These are not second-rank kings. The queens are one polarity of the battery, and the kings are the other. One is not better or worse than the other, and although batteries do have the terms of positive and negative, there is nothing less in the negative polarity than in the positive. The queens are essential because while the kings work for gathering the people and claiming lands, it's the queens that improve the land. What the queen is not. The queen is not about short-term solutions. If a queen comes up in a reading, you have to remember we are looking at the long run here. We're not looking at easy answers. We are not looking at tomorrow. We're not looking at shortcuts. The queen looks to the future and ensures that, in a sense, her children have a better life. She is the improver, and she is in the middle cipher of beauty. And that finally brings us to the kings. The kings reside in Keter, or the magician. They are the ideas. They are the top of the tree. The kings are not what we see today in leaders. This was a time that the idea that kingship or queenship resides in the blood, that doesn't apply anymore. But there was a time when it was believed that a king's son or daughter had a more special kind of blood, more suited for royalty than the common folk. We're going back before that sort of political idea of kings and queens, when kings were proven. Kings were people that rose up in the multitudes, perhaps 1 in 1,000. A king didn't always occur. There wasn't always a king. There was no way you'd find a king every 4-year term or something like that. And you just don't find a king in every settlement or every city. These people emerged and they had great gifts. We can call it charisma, but it was more than that. It was a way of uniting people so that even warring clans and chieftains would unite under this person. The king is a very special kind of person. All people, in a sense, loved him. He was more than a man. He was their whole hope and change. The kings were very special, but the one thing that they aren't is they are not looking ahead to an improved future. If a king was left to his own, he would acquire and acquire and acquire, and everything would stay at the same medieval peasant level it was when he took it over. Maybe not even that good, because there may have been destruction in the takeover or the conquest. Kings would have more and more of the same. Queens make sure that as the king acquires more, the more is improved, and we end up with sort of an increase or a rising up of the whole human condition. I hope that helps. I hope that gives us some ideas of what the minor arcana is. It is not as developed as the major arcana. There may be a degree of shoehorning necessary to get the fives to agree on the 5 spot, and that's where we review and we get to know the cards as people. It's the major arcana which really crystallize the system and teach the practical wisdom of ancient Kabbalah. The minor arcana offer us all kinds of archetypes that we can add into our readings to make our readings more interesting and hopefully more accurate. Just be sure that when we're looking at what the pips are or the minor cards are, remembering that they used to be just non-pictures. We have to remember, if it's a 5 card, we should keep in mind that it's going to relate in some way to the 5th Sephra, and so on. That's it for today. Oh, hold on. Jocelyn has a question.
Well, we have a lot of people saying hello. So Monk Mode,
Hi, Mom.
Random User.
Hi, Ram.
Let me see. Perlicini, many highs.
Hi.
Patsy Lolar.
Wow.
Nate Doobie says hi. Mako, and she thanks you. Oh. What a lovely day. 90, hello.
Wow.
Soul Sandoval and Robin Manholen also say hello.
Well, this is very nice. For years now, Jocelyn and I have been doing this in relative isolation, and it's only recently that we are communicating with real people and getting to know some of you. Thank you very much for calling in, and it helps us feel that we're not just in a vacuum sometimes. See you next time. Bye for now.